Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Wednesday, March 15th, 2017. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Aura News, where we bring you today's top stories translated into English every weeknight. Donald Lu, the U.S. ambassador to our country, gave an interview with the Voice of America commenting on Mr. Fatmir Jaffe, the new Minister of Interior, expected to be decreed by the president. According to the ambassador, the minister should fight against organized crime and narcotics in an active manner and should be impartial with the organization of elections. The new Minister of Interior should fight against crime in an active way and should act impartially as the country is preparing for elections. New energies are needed so that the fight against organized crime and narcotics can be successful. If Mr. Jaffe works aggressively against narcotics and organized crime, he will have our complete support, said the U.S. ambassador, who also emphasized the close cooperation with Mr. Jaffe for the judicial reform. Senator Mike Lee and a group of U.S. senators asked the U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson to launch an immediate investigation into how U.S. aid is using U.S. funds to support Albania's left-wing political groups. In the letter, the senators refer to the concerns of some Albanian political leaders who believe that the U.S. diplomats and organizations supported by Soros are giving the government control over the justice system. The letter reads, in part, Foundation Open Society Albania and its experts, with funding from U.S. aid, have created the controversial strategy document for Albanian judicial reform. Some leaders believe that these reforms are ultimately aimed to give the Prime Minister and left-of-center government full control over judiciary power. The destabilizing effects of such actions in a NATO country are clear and the threat for further escalation imminent, as Albania anticipates its parliamentary elections later this year. This is especially concerning in light of international reports of increasing government corruption in Albania and renewed power in drug trafficking and organized criminal groups in the country. The DP chairman commented on the letter at the protesters' tent, saying the letter was a positive message which he says comes from internationals supporting the opposition's protest. The DP chairman declared that the Prime Minister uses the Soros network to defend crime and corruption, also mentioning the message by the European Parliament Commission on Foreign Affairs chairman David McAllister, who asked for the rule of law and democracy to be strengthened. The DP chairman declared that the opposition's protest will continue until free and fair elections are guaranteed. On the 9th anniversary of several explosions at an ex-military ammunition depot in Gerdec, where 26 people died, the departing Minister of Interior, Samir Tahiri, declared that this day should make everyone reflect on the injustices of the courts. In a firearms meeting organized by civil society, Mr. Tahiri apologized for the failure in bringing those responsible to justice, saying, "Today is one of those days that reminds us all of the great injustices the courts are doing. Justice has not yet been made, and some of the perpetrators dare to appear in public and moralize about what Albania is today and what it should become in the future. Having held the post of Interior Minister, I owe a personal apology," Tahiri said. Family members of the victims from the 2008 explosion in Gerdec sent a letter to state institutions asking them not to stop the execution of the judicial decisions to distribute compensations. Family members expect the European Human Rights Court to make restitution for the explosion. The Parliamentary Law Commission approved the new law on the Ministry of Justice today. The law was passed amid debates between the Minister of Justice and the Socialist MP Vasilika Husi. The bill, presented by the Ministry of Justice, predicts a more active role in the ministry in disciplinary control. The bills caused debates regarding the role of the Minister of Justice in reviewing the complaints, a role which under the new justice system reform has been given to the Supreme Inspectorate of Justice. NP Husi emphasized that this role belongs to the Supreme Inspectorate of Justice, a new body created by the Constitution. The Law Commission Chairman, Mr. Jaffe, had this to say: "We are open to redefine the role of the Ministry of Justice within constitutional limits and with the elements we discussed." On the second day of his visit to Finland, Assembly Speaker Ilir Meta was received by Speaker of the Finnish Parliament, Ms. Maria Loela. They both highlighted the crucial need to advance the implementation of the judicial reform. Expressing gratitude for Finland's support for Albania's integration, Mr. Meta expressed the will to take the inter-parliamentary relation to another level, saying, "We believe in this excellent cooperation with Finland, especially in further improving our education system, and for this reason we have decided to pay specific attention to exchanges through the friendship groups and relevant parliamentary committees in order to benefit as much as we can from Finland's experience. We agree with the Chairwoman of Parliament to reciprocally promote cooperation between our two countries," said Meta. The Finnish Parliament Chairwoman declared that there are spaces for cooperation, especially in the business field. At a media briefing after the meeting, Ms. Loela said, amongst other things, that the two countries have many things in common. "We are two small countries which look to the future and work hard for the development and prosperity of our countries. I see a lot of opportunities to further boost our cooperation in areas as diverse as business, politics, and tourism," she said. During his visit to Finland, Assembly Speaker Ilir Meta was accompanied by the Chairwoman of Parliamentary Commission on Foreign Affairs, Ms. Arta Dade. They were also received by a group of lawmakers from different parliamentary parties, as well as the Parliamentary Friendship Group for Finland and Albania. Albania will receive funds from the European Union for 5 strategic sectors. The Minister of Integration, Klaida Josia, invited the stakeholders and civil society to become part of the Italy-Albania Montenegro inter-border cooperation and to propose concrete projects in environment, transport, or the innovation field. "I would like to call on all stakeholders, especially on civil society, to bring as many proposals as possible in order to become part of this program. Such programs are fundamental because they help preserving and strengthening values and increase citizens' trust in the principles of their functioning," said the Minister of Integration, adding that the experience which will be shared by those in the program will serve as an added value, creating a European way of thinking. Minister Josia said, "Only through this way of doing things, by increasing standards in every field or sector that generates revenue and increases capacities, can we be able to get closer to the European Union." The EU-funded program includes projects that will be implemented in sectors of the greatest need, such as the environment, competition, innovation, sustainable transportation, and cultural and natural heritage. Fire broke out at the National Library today in its underground stores. Firemen managed to get the fire under control about an hour and a half after it broke out. One security employee of the library was treated for respiratory problems due to smoke inhalation. The fire service director said that they are working to find the cause of the fire, but sources told Aura News that an electrical discharge caused the fire. It is not known which books were burned in the fire, but the director of the National Library says that flames did not burn important books, but a few books belonging to the period after 1990. Luckily, no one was injured by the flames, and the National Library staff was evacuated after the fire alarm. The fire cause and material damages report is expected to be released. That's all for our English edition this evening. Please join us again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. My name is Mari, and on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.